Good evening. Today we have our first guest named Dr. Jyoti Sangli, and she is a psychiatrist and a visiting doctor at Hiranandani. And more than me, I hand over the mic to her to tell me more about yourself, doctor.
Hi, all of you. I'm Dr. Jyoti Sangli here, practicing psychiatrist for the past 25 years. I'm attached to Holy Spirit Hospital as the head of the Department of Psychiatry. And I'm also a visiting psychiatrist at Dr. L.H. Hiranandani Hospital, Powai. I have been practicing for the past 25 years, and my special areas of interest happen to be geriatric psychiatry, and I'm extremely keen on creating mental health awareness amongst the common man, and hope to kind of in future work towards support groups of caretakers of mental health patients.
That's really interesting and commendable job from you. You've been working and very active on social media also, despite of all the occupancy of your time in various aspects. It's really a pleasure, and hardly any doctors get time. It's amazing the way you take out time for everyone to connect. And let me tell all my listeners that and the viewers that she is the first person who immediately accepted the idea to spread awareness and to come forward. I am really thankful for your time.
Thanks so much,
Hina. It's a real honor for all of us and for all the listeners. I'm sure they'll benefit something out of it and really learn from your experience. So it's like, definitely. It's like, firstly, I would like to ask you that you have been dealing with a lot of patients, and this is a testing time for everyone, as we all are aware about it. So what do you think about mental health in this scenario? How important it has become, and how should anyone, think about it?
So mental health is a very important pillar towards holistic health of any person. So these times in which we've been kind of secluded inside the house, we've been forced to stay indoors. Even if we have stepped out, we've stepped out with umpteen number of restrictions. Our social interactions have been compromised in quality and quantity. So it's our accessibility to healthcare services have been compromised. All of us at some level or the other have had a financial hit. Also, our day-to-day activities, our outdoor activities have been immensely affected. So these are times in which one is the impact of the illness. It's also the uncertainty of the pandemic, the uncertainty of the times in which we are living, the shock component of what still get over the shock component, and now reeling under the second surge of the illness, which seems to have taken, at least in India, our city by a sweep, and there are many other countries who are dealing with the same. A few of us who have had it easier, but it's not that there is anyone who's been unaffected. It's affected the physical health, mental health, and I would say every aspect of our life. The proportion in which it's affected each of the components could be different in different people. But it's not that anyone has been untouched by the magnitude of what has hit us.
Very true.
And obviously, it's affected everyone's mental health at some level. Some have been able to realize it. A few have been able to realize it and acknowledge it. A smaller proportion have been able to acknowledge it and articulate it, decided to seek help. A smaller proportion has decided but actually landed up.
Very
So
true. And that brings me to the immediate, that thought that comes. How do you, like, if you see the clients and all, when do you think that people should actually go and seek out help?
what I would say is the first thing which we need to be aware of is the uh, foundation to our mental health is sleep. If we have broken sleep, which we would not have, if we have delayed onset of sleep, which we would earlier not have, if we have early morning awakening, which we would earlier not have, if we are not getting up rested as we would earlier get up, it's a warning signal. It's supposed to ring an alarm in your head that there's something going wrong with my sleep. Do I need to figure out why is my sleep being compromised? So that's the first warning sign. Your sleep may be fine, but you may have so many other thoughts, so many other behaviors which are interfering in your normal functioning day to day. The moment you see a compromise in your daily functioning, so we call it compromise in socio-occupational functioning of a person. So those are the two main things which a common man can pick up. See, a low mood, a panic attack, or proper symptoms, it may be a little too late when we pick it up. So those are symptoms when they come up and you definitely need help. I am talking of a stage where you can be screened whether you need mental health help. And if you need, it may be actually a nascent stage where if it's intervened into, it may not develop into a mental health disorder. We may land up dealing with an issue at a very, very initial stage and help a person. So being aware of the fact that there could be a mental health component to anything different that we are seeing today is good enough. So you can have weird pains which you have never had. You can have thoughts which you've never had. You could have behaviors which you have never had. And suddenly you kind of feel that this was not me. Why is it happening? So at least seek an opinion. Even if the opinion is kind of by reading the stuff on internet and trying to figure out whether I need to approach a mental health professional. Whether it's just asking a mental health professional for just screen me. I don't want to get into this, but I need to know. That's good enough. Just be aware.
So when you speak about going on the social media, would you recommend that if they are reading and if there are some, pills that can be taken to calm the mind, would you tell them to take it without the advice of a doctor?
No. The social media or internet is to be used only as preliminary screening instrument. Just that. It is, you cannot base a diagnosis on the basis of what you find on the internet, because that would not have the subjective clinical touch to it, which is most required for a psychiatric diagnosis. It is not mathematical in which you can add 2 and 2 and make it 4. Psychiatry, psychology are abstract sciences in which the human feel and the human interaction with the therapist is most important. So the social media is to be used only as an instrument which can help you decide whether you need to go to a mental health professional or get screened. Psychopharmacology is out of question without being supervised or without being prescribed by a mental health professional who's trained in it.
That is a wonderful point, because, you know, nowadays sitting at home, people are more towards social media and, you know, finding out on internet, relating it to themselves. So you have very clearly and simply, you know, told the listeners as to not to go in for medication. And I'm really very thankful to you to bring up this point with that clarity.
I would not say don't go in for medication. I would say don't start it unsupervised on your own.
Right. That is.
Then, yeah. So let someone tell you whether you need them or you don't need them, and let that person be a qualified mental health professional to tell you that.
Very true. That is absolutely right. And what do you think should be the coping skills that people should, you know, by listening to you, maybe they will learn some skills wherein they are feeling low. So if you can just highlight 2-3 skills that they can follow.
So the first thing that I would say is acceptance. So all of us need to accept the uncertainty of the present times. It has taught us a lot of stuff. It has actually brought across how uncertain life is, which all of us had started taking for granted. So that's the first thing that we need to learn, that everything in our life is, the next moment is uncertain. And what we need to do is not think that I will take care of myself later. I will do that later. What needs to be done is acknowledge the uncertainty of the current times, articulate your issues, and live for the moment. I do not say don't plan for the future, but I am saying don't lose your present planning for the future or ruminating about the past. So the moment you are able to accept, acknowledge, and let go your past and be in the present, a lot of our issues can be solved.
Very beautifully put up. It's like, you know, on the fingertips. I hope those who are listening, they can actually retain it, that accept, acknowledge, move on.
This is actually, so we actually call it the Apple technique, in which you kind of acknowledge it, then you pause, you think about it, and then you pull yourself back and say, okay, I am going to move on. I don't stay back here. Then you let go your past and you explore your future options. So it's actually called the Apple technique.
Right. Very nice. And we all need to have it also.
Yeah. So that's one thing that we can do in the moment. Another thing that we can actually do in the moment is when you're really feeling overwhelmed, there are various relaxation techniques which we can find on YouTube, which are psychologically oriented. So something like a progressive muscle relaxation technique. So you'll find it on the YouTube. You'll find a lot of links there. Now you can do that on a regular basis, so it keeps you calm through the day. You can also do it in a sitting position while you are at work. So you can kind of train yourself into these kind of relaxation techniques, which can kind of calm you down in the moment. Yes. And more things. So if you really look at it, it's all a game of maladaptive coping strategies changed to more adaptive coping strategies. So rather than looking at any incident as a black and a white or a catastrophic thinking, you kind of acknowledge the uncertainty and say that, okay, I have to go with the flow. It's not always going to be either left or right. I may have to walk the middle path. Right. So I kind of come out of that catastrophic thinking and try to kind of cope and walk the middle path. So that's another thing that we need to realize.
Very true, because it is very important right now. And not also this, you know, walking in the mid path, also realizing that we are not alone in this. This is a global phenomenon, and everyone is going through according to their own circumstances.
Absolutely.
So we all
Absolutely.
are sailing in the same boat right now.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Any experience you had wherein you had to deal with some stressful situations during this COVID time in, like, since last year?
I am very sure
You
I
are
won't
a
be
very
the...
brave person, you enumerate like as if everything is so calm, but I'm sure some point, so we would like to know what is the coping skill for you. It'll be interesting.
So I'm sure you, being a psychologist yourself, know that it's never going to be unique to anyone. All of us have gone through our own share of ups and downs, and 1 year now seems like a pretty long time. 1 year never seemed so long as it's seemed this year. So
very true. Looking at the uncertainty coming back again, it's
absolutely
like more than 12 months contributes to 1 year.
I think I would quote one example that I would quote would be more as a mother. So, which you, I think quite a few will identify with, that when the lockdown hit, I had a son who was in his 10th standard amidst the board exams, and we have 4 exams remaining, and there's a lockdown which is
it
just happens.
Yeah.
And you have, in March, you are told that the exams would happen in April, and in April, you're told the exams will happen in May, and in May, you're told they'll happen in June, and in June, you're asked to give a decision whether you want to give the boards or not give the. So it's like handling ourselves, handling the child through this, child through the uncertainty, a generation which has never seen uncertainty, a generation which has always had everything on the platter, suddenly is told, okay, listen, things are uncertain. We don't know what's going to happen. Please continue to study for the next 4 months, because I don't know when your board exams are going to happen. So I think it was the biggest crisis I ever had, to get my son to study for 4 months and that keep him afloat with his spirits till the end of it.
Right. So it's like you were handling it at the clinical end, right, dealing with the patients also, and at home. So that is like wonderful.
So that I think was something which was unique. It was not easy, but this also brought out the resilience in children. So it was a very learning experience, because it was surprising how resilient these kids turned out to be.
That is absolutely true.
So they coped with it so beautifully that I think we need to grant it to the children more than the adults, that the way they have handled the lockdown and the way they've coped with it, and they have still managed to keep afloat with the complete change in paradigm in their education. They've taken to online classes. So it's been a great learning experience having a teenager at home. So initially it sounded like a crisis. Today it's like been a major learning lesson.
That is true. So what type of symptoms, like nowadays, after, we are listening to all these cases rising up, how do you think that people should now from henceforth carry forward? Regarding should they hold on like now?
So I basically definitely feel that mental health cases are now going to rise. It's going to rise more because of the financial issues. The financial, everyone is exhausted on physical and mental resources. All that everyone had, they have tried to really use in this 1 year. And we kind of at the back of our mind knew that we could have a second wave, but all of us were hoping against hope that the second wave would not hit us. And it has hit us. And as the first one took us by surprise, the second one also took us by surprise.
With the mutation going on.
Yes. It did take us by surprise, and it is still taking us by surprise. Absolutely. The way the numbers are multiplying, We never thought it would happen. We never thought that we would have to face the kind of numbers that we are facing now. The depletion in medical resources, the lack of beds, which is much more than the first wave, and the healthcare workers are tired and drained. So the kind of crisis now that we are going to face is at a very different level. So initially, at least, the healthcare workers were in complete enthusiasm. Now the healthcare workers, in spite of their enthusiasm, do not have the physical, financial, and medical resources to back them. They're trying their best. There are no beds. That's one aspect of it. Also, at an individual level, everyone is drained. So the crisis is going to increase, and so the mental health implications of the crisis is going to increase.
So in these situations, what you rightly said, to take care of oneself and, to stay in the moment, that will, I think so, be a real takeaway from this episode.
And help each other as much as you can, because you are not alone in this. So you have to be each other's pillar of support, physically, financially, mentally, mental health wise, so that all of us can be together, and we are not alone in this. All of us are facing it. So let's acknowledge it and be each other's support and just go on. If somebody has a resource, it can be shared. If somebody has financial issues, the financial issues need to be articulated so that help can be reached to them as per their requirements.
Very true.
Nobody needs to hold back. Nobody needs to hold back, because nobody is in this alone. All of us are in this together and need to be very aware that we need to do this together.
Absolutely, humanity first. And you have beautifully said we should be there for each other. And with that note and with your precious time, it's really inspiring, when to look at you with the energy that you have and spreading out the positivity every day. I hope this initiative has started with a very positive note. Everyone would love to be in touch with you and connect with you. And definitely you are available on all the media, and they can find you over there. Right?
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much, Hina. This has been a great chat.
It has been really very enlightening, and I've got wonderful insights from you how to handle in the moment, because we all will be sailing together in this.
Yes.
Thanks a lot for your time. This was Dr. Jyoti Sangli from Mumbai. See you in the next episode, everyone. Bye. Take care.
Bye.